What if I told you you could wake up in a different European city every morning, walk off the ship directly into the heart of town, never fight crowds getting on or off the ship, and unpack only once? Today, we're talking about one of the biggest secrets in travel, and honestly, one of my favorite ways to see Europe. Forget massive cruise ships with water slides and thousands of people. Today, we're slowing things down. We're talking about river cruising. By the end of this show, you'll know whether it's worth the money, who should book one, who absolutely shouldn't book one, and the mistakes people make that can ruin the experience. I'm Samantha with Fabulous Adventures Travel, and this is Talk Travel with Samantha. All right, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a river cruise? It's not what you're thinking. It's not this cruise that's, just a couple of rooms on it. It's a crappy boat. We're just going on the river. In Europe, it's a completely different experience. When people hear cruise, they usually picture a giant ship in the Caribbean, right? River cruising is completely different. Think of it as a floating boutique hotel. Most river ships only carry between 100 to 190 passengers. So I'm going to say that again because it might, shock you. 100 to 190 passengers. So that's like not many people at all. That's like nothing. There's nobody on the ship, which is really, really cool. So that means, right? No long buffet lines, no elevators packed with hundreds of people, no waiting 20 minutes just to get off the ship. Instead, you dock right in the center of the city. So this is one of the reasons why I absolutely love river cruising. I think it is so cool that you can dock right in the center of the city. There's no wondering how far away is the city? Am I going to have to take a bus all the way into the city? Where is this city that I'm going to? You're literally in the heart of it, right? In many places, like I said, you're literally walking off the ship and you're standing in historic downtown, which is amazing. So imagine having morning coffee while floating past medieval castles on the Rhine. That's one of the best ways to experience it, right? It's so peaceful. There is not a wake or a wave at all on these cruises. So it's so peaceful. It's the coolest thing. You're also gonna be floating past vineyards stretching for miles in France, right? Colorful villages along the Danube. It's not about the ship. When you do a river cruise, it's about where the ship takes you. So there's definitely different places that you can go in European river cruising, and not just Europe, by the way. There's a bunch of other places that you can go and do a river cruise. So it's not about the ship. So don't think that you're getting like this mess. To be honest, there's not much to do on a river cruise on the ship itself. I should clarify that. There's not a lot to do on the ship itself because they don't want you on the ship. They want you off the ship experiencing the European destinations, the cities that you're traveling to. They want you to experience that and not be on the ship, going on water slides, hanging out by the pool. Majority of them do not have pools. Some of them have some indoor pools. That's very rare, but if that is something that you're very interested in, you just have to do the research on that. But some of them do have pools in the inside. There's a couple with hot tubs up top, and a lot of the up top, the very, very top of the ship, the top, the very top deck that's open. It's an open air deck, right? That's where a lot of sitting is done. You can have some meals up there sometimes, depending on the ship. Some of them will grill. They'll have a whole grill event and, they'll grill a ton of stuff up there, which I think is really, really, really cool. So super fun. They do have fun events, I will say, but that the ship is not the destination. It's where the ship takes you is what it's about, right? So my secret spots, right? Everyone talks about Paris, everyone talks about Rome, but let's talk about Europe's most magical little towns. So Melk, Austria is just great. Most Danube cruises stop here. So that is just an amazing place because towering above the river is the Melk Abbey. It's over 900 years old. The library alone looks like something out of Harry Potter. But here's my favorite part. Instead of rushing back to the ship after the excursion, stay behind for an hour, walk the tiny streets, grab coffee at the local cafe, browse little shops. Most travelers never venture beyond the main square. Those quiet side streets, that's where Austria feels authentic, and those moments become your favorite memories. So I will say, some of the coolest ways to experience it, like we said, right? You're going straight into the town and you're docking right in the town. But the coolest part is a lot of the river cruises actually offer excursions. So a lot of the river cruises have excursions included, and then they have extra excursions where you pay extra for them, right? Those extra ones will be a little bit more adventurous. They're going to take you outside of town. Those included excursions are going to be like you walk around town and they're explaining kind of the town. And they're short, which gives it a nice timing for you so that you can then go and explore the town on your own, which is the coolest thing. So, right, you get this little explanation, this little guided tour of the town. And then once you're like, all right, you're good to go, head out, go do what you got to do, you get to now go and experience it yourself and, find those little coffee shops, find those nooks and crannies where you're like, oh, this is really cool. I didn't see that during the tour. So that's one of the things that I absolutely love about river cruising. Yes, you're going to see all the destinations that, are super popular, on that route, right? You're going to see all of the, Cologne, you're going to see the church that's there. You're going to see all that stuff. But you're also going to get to experience it on your own, where you can make your own memories and be like, this is cool. I had dinner at this place that was amazing. I, had coffee at this joint. They had the best coffee I've ever had, that kind of thing. You've walked into a shop that's amazing. So I think river cruising is just so cool. And one of the things I do want to say about river cruising is that it has a stigma of being a much, much older crowd and demographic, but it has changed immensely in the last few years because people are actually realizing it is a great way to get a lot of countries in 7 days, right? And not have to take the train and lug your luggage around and, over the cobblestone streets and up the stairs because there's no elevators. And yes, there's air conditioning on the river cruise. So you're not sweating to death if you're going in the summer. So a lot of people have realized that this is an amazing way to see a lot of Europe. And a lot of times you can double your river cruise. So you don't have to just do the 7 days. You can even do a short time. You can do a 5-nighter. You can do a 4-nighter. Those are becoming a little bit more popular as well, as people are starting to realize how cool this river cruising is and how, what a great addition it is, or what a great trip it actually is to see a lot of things at one time. So the demographic was skewing much older years ago. As of now, it has come down greatly. Also, river cruising is allowing for families at this point. So they have started adding more family options. So before it was just double occupancy or single occupancy. Now they have family options where either the rooms are connected or they have family cabins. So those things have definitely changed in the last couple of years, honestly. And it's changed that. So I do want to say, commercial break, when you're planning your next vacation or your next river cruise, of course, don't spend hours comparing hundreds of websites. Fabulous Adventures is here for you. Let us do the work. We do everything. We sell everything. We're a full service travel agency. So whether you're dreaming of a luxury river cruise like we're talking about, because you should, it's so amazing, an all-inclusive resort like we have discussed, or an unforgettable family adventure at our good friend Disney around the corner, our experienced travel advisors help you vacation smarter, not harder. Visit Fabulous Adventures Travel today because your next adventure deserves expert planning. We are an award-winning travel agency. So let's talk about, I mentioned earlier, let's talk about which river cruises, or which river, not river cruise, which river is right for you. So I did mention earlier there's a bunch of different options. So a lot of first timers, they choose the Danube because it's got all the greats on there. Honestly, the Rhine and the Danube have all the greats on there, honestly. So it's really hard to pick. But the Danube is perfect for first timers. So think Vienna, which is amazing. I had the best Wiener Schnitzel in Vienna ever in my life. I know it sounds very, very odd because obviously it's a very German food, but oh my gosh, I will send you to the best Wiener Schnitzel you will ever have in your entire life. I went twice in my trip when I went to Vienna. So anyways, think Vienna, Budapest, Bratislava, Passau, Christmas markets. Christmas markets we're going to talk about here in just a little bit too, because that's a whole nother thing. Music, castles. There's a lot of castles on that Danube. It's, one of the most popular ones is the Neuschwanstein Castle. It is along that route and well worth the stop. It also has, of course, a ton of history, just like anywhere in Europe. So if Europe is on your bucket list, I would say Danube is a great start. Now, the Rhine is also a really good start because this one goes from Amsterdam to Basel, or Basel to Amsterdam, and you can go either way. So you don't have to just go one way. So that's another thing. And the coolest part about actually planning your trip, right? You could plan it to go, start in Amsterdam because maybe there's something going on in Amsterdam that you really want to do. And then, end in Basel and hang out in Switzerland for a couple of days or more, because Switzerland is unreal and deserves a whole trip on its own, honestly. So the Rhine, back to the Rhine, that's the Amsterdam to Basel. Or vice versa, is postcard Europe, right? So it's castles every few miles, fairy tale villages, wine country. This is the cruise where you'll constantly say, wait, stop, I need another picture. So it has a lot to see on there, but they both do, honestly. So the Seine is also an option, which is France, of course, right? So you have Monet's gardens, you have Normandy, you have Paris, all of that on there. It's perfect for art lovers, food lovers, and history lovers. But the Seine is a lot of France, obviously, and it's mostly French. And the Douro is Portugal's hidden treasure. So a lot of people have been doing this one lately. It's rolling vineyards, port wine, tiny villages, and this is probably Europe's most underrated river cruise, which is what I just said. It's gaining massive popularity because a lot of people have already done the Danube and the Rhine, right? So if you're a frequent river cruiser, you have definitely 1000% done the Danube, you've done the Rhine. I don't know if you've done the Seine, but you probably have not done the Douro. That one's kind of new and up and coming. Then there's a Mekong, which of course we're going all the way over to Asia based on the name, right? So remember I mentioned it's not just Europe that they do these river cruises. Strangely enough, we actually have them here in the US. We have river cruises here up and down the Mississippi. And Viking, and I gotta look this up. I actually am just popping this off the top of my head. Viking was actually gonna start a brand new river cruise, and I'm trying to think if that actually ended up happening or if they're still doing it, to be honest. But there's a couple of different options here in the Mississippi, which is a really cool one, right? So you're like New Orleans to, and I can't think of the top part of it. It must be Memphis. I think it's Memphis. But it's that whole Mississippi, right? So you're doing all that. I know I totally took a squirrel from Mekong, but so Mekong is Vietnam and Cambodia, floating markets, ancient temples, life along the river hasn't changed in generations, right? So you're going to see a ton of stuff that you would not see normally. It's one of the most culturally immersive cruises in the world. Then here's one that you're probably not thinking of, the Nile. So the Nile is not well known, but I want to say that it's also making a comeback-ish to an extent. So the Nile, of course, is history lovers, right? This one's for you, basically. So imagine sailing between temples that are over 3,000 years old, right? You've got the Luxor, the Aswan, the Valley of the Kings. This isn't just a vacation. It's a history book coming to life. So that's an option. There are not many cruise lines or river cruises that do the Nile. So you really have to hunt for that one, but it is done. And I will say I've actually sent clients over on river cruise via Egypt, like one of their actual boats. So they have some suppliers that do it, not just suppliers that are well known. So the other one too that people, and I'm going to briefly touch on it, is the Amazon. So that is an option as well. But we'll save that for another time. So tourist trap, or is it totally worth it, right? Let's bust a few myths. So myth number one, river cruises are only for retirees. I know I just talked about that. It's not anymore, right? The average age has dropped significantly. We're seeing honeymooners, girls' trips, foodies, wine lovers, empty nesters, and even multi-generational families, which is what I mentioned earlier. So I do find it funny. If you are a massive wine connoisseur, you love your wine, this is river cruising is where it's at. Because it's literally wine stop, wine stop, wine stop, wine stop, wine stop. What? How much more wine can I have? That is what river cruising is. So 1000%, if you are a wine lover, you should be on a river cruise. So myth number two, they're boring. So I know I started out to say that the ships don't have a lot in them, but actually most days you're walking 5 to 8 miles exploring cities. So it's, again, like I mentioned, it's not about the ship, right? It's about the destination that you're going to, right? You're biking vineyards, you're taking cooking classes, you're wine tasting, you're, tasting all the other foods, the pastries and whatnot. You're visiting castles. It's surprisingly active. It's one of the most active cruises that you'll ever be on. I always say when people are like, oh, I don't want to cruise. And I was like, well, have you gone out of the Caribbean? Have you left the Caribbean and tried something else? Because let me tell you something, the Caribbean can be boring after a while. Is it beautiful? Yes, of course. Sure, it's beautiful. The water is gorgeous. Everything's gorgeous in there, right? And the weather is usually great. The waves are great. It's calm. Everything's awesome, right? But it can be boring. One island after another is the same thing. When you go to Europe like this, it's completely different. Sometimes you're going into different countries as you go along, right? So you're completely getting different cultures as you continue to go along, which is really, really neat. I know that's the same thing in the Caribbean, but it's not. To be honest, I feel like every Caribbean, it doesn't matter if it's named a different island, it's the same freaking island if you ask me. I still love it, don't get me wrong, but that's what it feels like. So myth number 3, they're too expensive. Here's where people get confused. River cruises include more than ocean cruises. So it is very expensive. When you go to look at it, if I have swayed you in any way to try a river cruise, and if you're like, honey, let's go look on the river cruise today, and you go to look on it and you're like, Samantha, how did she tell me that this is a good thing to do? You might be a little shocked, but I'm going to be honest with you. It includes a lot, right? It includes all of your food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? It includes wine with your meals. So each meal you do get wine and wine and sometimes spirits. It depends on the cruise line. But excursions are included, like I mentioned. So excursions will be included. And like I mentioned, that's nothing, you're not zip lining down anything. You're not, going on a speedboat. You're not doing anything that's like super fancy. It's usually just a gentle walk or a guide through the city, a guide through the main attraction. So that is what would be included, right? And then your Wi-Fi is included. So you don't have to pay extra for that. So no one's like, trying to get you on the Wi-Fi. Your entertainment's included. So as I mentioned, while I said to you that's a little boring, there is actually a lot of entertainment on board. They will bring in people, which is really, really cool. They'll bring in performers from the actual cities in the countries that you're in. So that's really cool because you're experiencing different entertainment, right? They'll also bring in chefs in different kind of presentations in that kind of sense, in wine. They'll bring all that stuff on board, which is really, really cool. Sometimes, depending on the cruise line, your gratuities are included. Your airport transfers, generally that's most of them. Most of them, your airport transfers are included unless you deviate, but that's a whole nother thing. We won't talk about that right now because that's going to get confusing, but your airport transfers are included. So when you compare everything that's included, the value becomes much cheaper or clearer and cheaper, right? So is it worth the splurge? My vote? Yes, it is worth the splurge. Let's talk luxury. If you're going to splurge, book a balcony suite on a scenic itinerary during shoulder season. That's where you're going to get your best money, right? So we've talked about shoulder season and how great it is because everything's cheaper. There's less crowds. It's amazing, right? Less everything, less crowds, less money, all the things that's happening on shoulder season. Same thing. You want to book a balcony suite during that time. So now the things you have to be aware of about the cabins on these ships is you have your underground cabin. I like to call it the underground, the basement, but not to, listen, you're not going to be in your cabin that much. So remember, if you want to get on board and you don't care where you stay, that's where you want to be. It's going to be at what is it called exactly? I want to say it's like water level, but there's probably a much better name for that. But each ship has a water level cabin, right? Then the next level will be a balcony or a French balcony. So a lot of these ships have the French balcony where you don't actually have a balcony. You open your slider and now your room is your balcony. So that's kind of how they do it. Then you will get a balcony where you actually have a balcony. So when you open your slider, you have a little mini balcony with a couple chairs. And then you've got your suites, right? So that's kind of the difference in the cabins. So when you book these in the shoulder season, you want to think about late April, early May, September, and October. Those are the times that are kind of iffy of people going because, well, it's just what it is. late April because beginning April is actually when they do the tulips. So tulip season is right around that beginning of April, end of March. So that's a beautiful time and people love that time. So you usually get beautiful weather during the time that I mentioned without the biggest crowds, right? Because we talked about that's what shoulder season is. So another splurge would be a pre and post cruise stay. That helps keep everything easy. It's all connected, right? It's connected to your main reservation. You've now got this pre and post stay with the same people that you're doing the ship with. You're doing the river cruise, and it's amazing because you don't have to do anything. They're taking care of your luggage. They're showing you where to go. They've got all the tours. So when you fly into Europe, you don't board immediately, right? You spend 2 or 3 nights exploring whatever city on either end, or you do it backwards. And then they take you straight to the cruise with all your luggage and whatnot. You don't touch anything. It's amazing. It's the coolest way to do it. So that's another good addition. So travel hack of the week. Here's a tip many travelers never hear. Book your river cruise as early as possible. These are not giant ships as we talked about. River ships are tiny. As we mentioned, there's only about 80 cabins, right? 190 people. So the best rooms sell out about a year in advance. Like, I'm not even kidding when I tell you that if there is a specific time of year that you want to go because it's celebrating whatever it may, whatever it is you want to celebrate, or you want to go during Christmas markets, like I mentioned, Christmas markets is one of the best, coolest events that River Cruises does. So it's right around Thanksgiving that it starts, and then it's right into Christmas, depending on the town, by the way. And what it is that these river cruises are going to the same cities, but now they're going to the same cities with a Christmas market involved. And it's just these little huts of cider and mulled wine and pastries and Christmas ornaments and all things Christmas. They're decorated with lights, and it's literally the coolest thing. But as I was mentioning, these sell out quickly. So if you're around, say right now in July, and you're like, hey, Samantha just told me about a Christmas river cruise. Let's go. It's going to be the greatest thing ever in December. You're too late. You got to go next December. You might be able to find something, but it's not going to be your most perfect thing. You're not going to be like, oh yeah, I got the perfect room. I'm on the perfect itinerary that I wanted. It's not happening. You might find, the golden nugget, the best thing ever. You might have a whole moment of, whoa, but chances are you've missed it, and now you have to do it next year. So know that Christmas markets, you've got to do those at least a year and a half to almost 2 years in advance, because it's just a short time period and it sells out very quickly. People love it and it's amazing. So the best rooms nearly sell out, a year in advance, even for the other timing, not just Christmas markets, because there aren't, thousands of cabins. So when they're full, right? There's no waiting list and there's no extra ship added. So make sure that you do that. So one bite you can't miss. One of the greatest parts of river cruising, of course, is the food ashore. If you're on the Danube, try the Wiener Schnitzel in Vienna. As I mentioned, it's literally the best thing that you will have ever eaten if you like Wiener Schnitzel. I will tell you the place. Email me, call me, send me a message on talktravelwithsamantha.com and ask me where this best place is for Wiener Schnitzel, because I promise you, you will not regret it. And you'll be like, she just sent me to the best place ever. In France, of course, you're going to want to try the croissants, right, for a neighborhood bakery and all of that. So just eat all the food in Europe, because it doesn't get better than that. So my biggest piece of advice is don't book a river cruise because you love cruising. Book it because you want to go see the destinations and you love the destinations. This isn't about casinos or Broadway shows or giant pools. It's about slowing down, meeting the locals, walking cobblestone streets, sipping wine where it was made, and watching castles drift by from your balcony. It sounds glorious. It's one of the most relaxing and immersive ways to experience the world. And once people take one river cruise, many never go back to touring Europe any other way. So if you've been thinking about taking a river cruise, please don't hesitate to contact Fabulous Adventures Travel or myself, and we would love to help you. We'd love to help you find out which itinerary is right for you. We'd love to help you figure out which cruise line is right for you, in your budget, all the things. So Fabulous Adventures Travel will match you with the river cruise line and itinerary that fits your travel style and budget. Be sure to follow Talk Travel with Samantha and wherever you also listen to podcasts, and share this episode with someone who's always dreamed of seeing Europe. Until next time, I'm Samantha, reminding you that the world is full of incredible places and the best journeys begin with a great plan. So until next time, travel smarter, vacation harder, and this has been Talk Travel with Samantha.